Hello, guys. Welcome to our channel again, Homeschooling with Zena. And we actually decided to skip Alexander the Great. Well, we did it, but we didn't make a video of it. So, because we were kind of in a precarious position where I wanted to give it a lesson, but we didn't have the access to make the video. So we decided to skip it. All right, so now we are starting India. So we can look at the lessons here. The mystery of Mohenjo-Daro. I don't know how to say that. Ancient Hinduism, the Ganges River, the Ramayana, Siddhartha and Gautama, the Buddha, Asoka and the spread of Buddhism, a Jakarta tale, the Monkey King. This will be very interesting because in China, the Monkey King is the most popular character in the history of Chinese media. Okay, and it's very interesting that the Monkey King actually comes from India and not China. So, let's begin with the mystery of Mohenjo-Daro. I'm actually very excited to read about this because I don't know much about India. Hey, Zena, why don't you sit up? Excuse me there, my daughter was closing her eyes. That's not funny. Okay, so why don't you read the first paragraph?
Journey to the lands of ancient India and explore the beginnings of Hinduism on the bank of the
Indus River.
Indus River.
Do you remember the Indus River?
Yes.
Who went to the Indus River?
Alexander.
Good. Okay, continue.
Then move on to
the sacred
secret
Ganges River.
Ganges River and meet
Siddhartha Gautama,
the founder of Buddhism. Learn how the ruler Asoka expanded and into the
united
the Indian Empire, then sit back and enjoy a
Jataka tale. Okay, so I'm guessing this is Siddhartha. All right. Buddha is like it's hard to explain. Let's see how they explain it. Okay. Because I can't say he's a god because he's not really a god, and it's really about nothing, being nothing with everything, something like that. So, the mystery of Mohenjo-Daro. We learn that Alexander the Great and his army marched to a land called India, where they met an army riding a herd of enormous war elephants. In India, Alexander met a civilization that was very old. Today, we'll learn about its beginnings. We're going to jump way back in history. Back to the time when the first civilizations were emerging in what? What's that called? This
the
one.
first civilization
Were emerging.
Mesopotamia and Egypt.
Review with your students those pages of the history record book that refer to the following lessons. Nomads settle in the Fertile Crescent. the first villages, rivers as roads in Mesopotamia. Make sure your student knows that nomads. What are nomads? Do you remember?
Nomads, they travel to one place and to another when
Good.
there's not enough food.
Looking for food and water. Some nomads settled in villages by rivers. Why do you think ancient people wanted to live near rivers?
So they can have enough water.
And they can do farming, right?
Yes.
Which rivers were important to Mesopotamian civilization? Do you remember the rivers that were important?
Indus.
Nope. Which rivers were important to Mesopotamian civilization? The Indus River was not included in that.
Oh, you mean the Euphrates and the Tigris?
Very good. The Euphrates and the Tigris rivers were important. Okay?
Yes.
Which river was important for Egypt?
The Nile.
Very good. Let's see if we are right. Okay. There was water to drink and to grow crops. They could travel on the rivers to other places, the Tigris and Euphrates rivers and the Nile. Very good, Zena. Okay. This is a map of, let's see if we can, oops. This is another lesson, literature lesson. Okay, so let's try to find that map of the Indian subcontinent. So, can you take the mouse and point to India? Very good. And can you see China too? Where's China? China is, yes, look how big that China is. So Alexander the Great didn't get past India. Do you know why?
Because the mountains.
Yeah, because the mountains were in his way. So he couldn't know that there was another civilization on the other side of the mountains, right? So he cried and he said, "Alas, there's nothing left to conquer." And he cried and then he got sick and died, right? All right. Today we're going to learn about another group of people who lived by the river, the Indus River. Okay, so, sorry. The Indus River. See, this is the Ganges River. And the Indus River is right here. You see that?
Yep.
I keep on clicking on it. Why? Okay, long ago, civilization began in 3 places at just about the same time. We learned about 2 of those civilizations. We learned about the people who settled along the banks of the Nile River in Egypt. And we learned about the people who settled along the Tigris and Euphrates rivers in Mesopotamia. The rivers supplied more than just drinking water for the thirsty people there. When rains came, the rivers flooded. Soil floated up from the bottom and spread over nearby fields. The soil was full of everything crops needed to grow. Okay? I think we saw this before. Right? Then it leaves stuff there, you see? And that can make the crops grow fast. Natural fertilizer. The rivers gave the people a way to water their fields. Then the people could grow enough food for themselves and sell the rest. When this happened, people looked around and said, "Well, now the riverbank is a good place to live. Let's settle down here. So, people along the rivers built cities, which are the cradle of civilizations. While people were building cities near the Nile, Tigris, and Euphrates rivers, other people were doing the same thing near the Indus River. Okay, so where's the Indus River? Okay, very good. People moved to the Indus River and began to grow barley and wheat along its banks. They used water buffalo and elephants to help plow and harvest their patchwork of fields. For the first time in history, farmers grew cotton and learned to weave its light weight. Sturdy fibers, um, sorry. Merchants took the cotton to places west of India and exchanged it for gold, silver, and stones to make beautiful jewelry. Soon, people built cities in the valley near the river, but there weren't any empires in the Indus Valley. No strong warriors like Ramses or Hammurabi. Do you remember Ramses?
Ramses the Great.
Mm-hmm.
King.
He's a what king?
The Pharaoh.
Yes, Egyptian pharaoh Ramses II. Who did he fight?
Moses.
Yes, very good. And who's Hammurabi? What did he do?
Hammurabi.
Do you remember? See, this is not fair. The people said, this is not fair. He said, the king should follow the rules.
Oh, you mean the king? He made the rules that even clean kings need to follow.
Right. Right. The laws of Hammurabi. Right.
Yes.
So no strong warriors like Ramses or Hammurabi tried to unite the cities into one kingdom. The cities took care of themselves. Cities by the Indus River were protected by strong walls. Inside the walls, each city grew up around a huge circular mound with important buildings on the top. This built-up area is called a citadel. The citadel was a high place to store grain if the river flooded, and it had a stronghold made of baked clay brick. People could hide inside the stronghold if enemies attacked. Around the citadel, the city was laid out as neatly as a checkerboard. Streets ran up and down and across in straight lines. So this is a citadel, see? There were no places on these well-paved streets. The houses were simple but comfortable. People could haul water from tall wells instead of going all the way to the river. They even had toilets. Toilets were not very common in those long ago times. Waste left the house through underground drains and ran into deep gutters along the street. One Indus Valley city had an enormous brick-lined bath that was the size of a small swimming pool. Wow, look at this. Yeah. Citadel cities in the Indus River Valley were some of the biggest in the world. At that time, more than 40,000 people lived in one city called Mohenjo-Daro. Have your students find, okay, so this one. Where is Mohenjo-Daro on the map? Very good. Do you remember what we call people who dig in the ground and discover clues about the past?
Archaeologists.
Very good. Archaeologists have uncovered fascinating secrets about Mohenjo-Daro. We know that two-wheeled carts pulled by bulls rumbled through the busy city. We know that the people figured out how to write with pictures and that carpenters built strong ships to carry goods to other places. We know that potters crouched on the ground in front of potting wheels and turned lumps of wet clay into vases. Sometimes potters decorated vases with animals, like fish. Other potters drew designs in black on red background. So this is called pottery, right? When people make clay stuff. Archaeologists have found all sorts of interesting things in Mohenjo-Daro. They've discovered small statues that give us hints about how people dressed. They found tiny stone squares, no bigger than postage stamps, carved with delicate picture writing in different scenes. We don't know the meaning of the writing on the stone squares, but the scenes let us guess about life in the Indus Valley. Some of the carvings show elephants draped with rugs or blankets. So we know that these giant animals were very important to the people of Mohenjo-Daro. Okay, so this is Mohenjo-Daro. All of these things are exciting discoveries, but they leave us with a mystery. They don't tell us what happened to the cities by the Indus River. Slowly people left. The buildings, drains, wells, and citadels crumbled. There's no sign of fire or other destruction. But in Mohenjo-Daro, archaeologists found skeletons lying in the street, as though the last people to live there had died with no one to bury them. Oh. Maybe the Indus River began to flow in a different direction and people couldn't grow their crops. Or maybe the weather patterns changed. For some reason, the people moved away. Finally, sand and dirt covered up the old citadel cities, and for many years, no one even knew how they were there. Why did people leave the ancient citadel cities? The mystery remains unsolved, and we may never know for sure. Why do you think people left? Zena?
I don't know.
Have a guess.
Maybe because the river flow in a different direction.
Okay. That's what they said, but I want your opinion. Just why do you think they left?
Maybe because they can't grow plants there, so they thought they will need to go to a better place.
Okay. Well, why there's skeletons in the street? Okay. You already know what an Indus River is. What did the early people of the Indus Valley build?
Very big buildings.
Cities. Yeah, it's called a citadel. Ancient cities along the Indus River were built around citadels. What were these citadels? Oh, that's kind of hard.
Big cities.
Okay. What are some things you might have seen if you could have visited a city along the Indus River many years ago?
I may have seen big buildings.
Okay.
And a lot of plants.
Okay. What happened to the citadel cities?
All the Indians left. They're going to a better place.
Okay, the people left. We don't want to call them Indians yet. We don't know yet. So, okay. So it says citadel cities, big round mounds. Citadels, streets, houses, drains, toilets, people making ships, potters making pots.
Oh,
Okay.
I know how to make potters. You just put something that looks like clay in a thing, and you turn that thing around. Then it becomes
Pottery.
a pottery. It can
I
easily
know.
break though.
No one knows for sure, but the people left them. Yeah, no one knows. Okay, I guess this is about finished.
Oh no. Pencil. No.
Yeah, you can do the written narration. You can do this kind of activity. Help your students make a diorama of an ancient Indus Valley citadel. Use the materials to make a simple model of the city on a sheet of cardboard. Okay.
I can make a city with blocks.
Yeah. Listen carefully as a series of items are explained. Find each item on the page and color it. After you have found all of the items, color the rest of the page. That sounds interesting. I'm thinking of something that helped people. Pause them. With this, it was easier to get water. Pause. You didn't have to walk to the river. Okay, it's good stuff. Okay, here's a test. 3 questions. 30 points each. 33.3333 points each. Okay. The Indus River is labeled and on the north edge of India. Oops, I read the answer. To answer this question, please use the map. Okay, you already know what that is. All right. What did the early people of the Indus Valley build?
Big cities.
What do you call that?
Cities.
Citadel.
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 There were many citadels in it.
Ancient cities along the Indus River were built around citadels. What were these citadels?
They were just big cities. Sometimes
big round mounds.
Looks like mounds.
Big round mounds. See, this is round, right?
Yes, and inside is many kind of different buildings. Told you.
Ooh, got a ghost.
Soon.
I had a nightmare yesterday.
10 points each one. What is your nightmare?
Really bad. Furthermore, explore the ancient Indus Valley Civilization online at the ancient Indus Valley. Huh? Oh, it's because it's leaving. Okay, so we can know more about the Indus Valley here. So, www.harappa.com slideshows. There you can learn about that. Okay, guys. So, thank you for watching. And I hope you subscribe. And I hope you keep watching because we're going to have a lot more interesting stuff later on. So, goodbye, guys.